Fuck is going on in the world? Well, Mortal Kombat 11 details released. Also, Spider-Man Far From Home plot details released. And finally, Aquaman reviews are in and they're not good. All this and more on today's edition of the Johnny Massacre Show. How's it going, people? It is Wednesday, and that means it's time for more Johnny Massacre goodness from Japan. We're going back into the world of video games because VG Charts has released some more details about Mortal Kombat that basically weren't really known from the recently released trailer from the Game Awards. They say that some information for Mortal Kombat 11 has surfaced online on the GameStop Italy product page for the game. Props to whoever was scoring random parts of the internet for that news. It was also revealed that Shao Kahn, pictured below, will be a pre-order bonus. Okay, so on YouTube there's a lot of people saying don't pre-order games because if you pre-order the game, it makes it too easy for the developer. The developer should have to prove to you first that the game is worth buying, and it's just a bad idea all round. So at least they're offering some kind of incentives, but still, I hate this shit. It's not like they're offering something that they couldn't already give you. They've already coded this character. They probably already had him in the game and they thought, okay, how can we get people to pre-order? Let's take this motherfucker out of the game and then make it look like we're giving someone something. That's so fucking stupid. You've got to do harder than that. So I hate all this pre-order bullshit. It is just fucking awful, along with loot boxes and shit like that. Okay, so let's, this is turning into a rant quite quickly. Let's go back to the article. So here is Shao Kahn. He's got a massive hammer. Yes, he looks wonderful, but I'm not going to pre-order it just for this cunt. The article says Mortal Kombat is back and better than ever in this new and fantastic evolution of the iconic title. Now you can customize the variants of your fighters down to the smallest detail, gaining unprecedented control over the aesthetics of the characters. The new graphics engine meticulously renders every crushed skull and torn heart, completely immersing the player in the action of the bloodiest scenes. Okay, this is obviously written by the people who made Mortal Kombat because it's a glowing report of its own talents. In addition, the new list of fighters includes previously unseen characters, the classics of the series, and the protagonists of the amazing movies in the story mode of the epic saga that has continued for more than 25 years. Amazing movies. Don't even get me started on the Mortal Kombat movies. If you thought The Last Jedi and Force Awakens were bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. A new game engine with even bloodier scenes. A new personalization system with clothes, accessories, and moves sets never seen before. Wow, moves never seen before. You're really selling it to me. New fatalities and a new Gore-Tex system make the performances even more brutal. Gore-Tex system? What is this newfangled vocabulary? This must be amazing. Finally, strong multiplayer component, entirely oriented toward esports, including personalization systems, daily news, constantly updated rewards, and improved matchmaking. So esports is the big thing right now. Everyone wants to get in there because that means it's going to extend the lifespan of the game and draw more potential players in. That is not an easy thing to do. That's like trying to bottle lightning. Halo 3, my favorite game of all time, really made esports into what it is today. And ironically, Halo, because I guess the original developers of Halo jumped ship and made Destiny, now isn't popular in esports at all. So it's an ever-changing industry. And with potential buyers more and more discerning, more and more suspicious of these major companies due to big epic fails by companies like EA, I think it's going to be harder than ever to dominate the esports market. Balancing these games is a nightmare. So in the limited edition of Mortal Kombat, you get a steel case. Wow. And a combat pass. 6 characters and 6 battle passes. Editor's note, we're not sure what this is. I can tell you what the fuck this is. They're going to drip feed you new characters, and in order to get them, you either have to unlock them with in-game currency that you earn extremely slowly, or with another type of currency that you get from purchasing loot boxes. Or you can just pay for the battle pass and skip the whole gambling style element and just get all of these characters. And I bet you most of these characters have already been made, and just as I said before, the developer will lock them off and then sell them to you at a higher price. This is fucking insane. Fuck all this shit. This has made me hate Mortal Kombat. Cookie cutter, big corporate, greedy strategy from the developers of this game. Okay, so moving on. Spider-Man plot details have been released. So as you know, apparently the Spider-Man trailer was revealed at some kind of expedition, but it wasn't on general release. As I predicted, they wouldn't release Spider-Man last Saturday, the day after Avengers. It just, something didn't sit right with that. Marvel wouldn't release those two trailers one day after the other. But apparently this really did happen. I've been reading about it a lot, and I think some of the actors even presented the trailer. And this is weird. So instead of capitalizing on the mystery surrounding the movie and just releasing the trailer and letting everyone know at the same time, they basically leaked some plot details. So I'm guessing there's a lot more to this movie than meets the eye. Apparently Spider-Man's going to team up with Mysterio, one of his classic enemies, which I guess is interesting. I don't actually know in the comics if they were mates first. He probably was. He probably got corrupted or something. Someone let me know in the comments, because I can't be asked to Google it. But anyway, Mysterio's in it. And surprisingly, he is not the enemy to start off with. And I think the enemy is Hydro Man or something. But it just, there's not enough core Spider-Man characters in this to make it gel for me. So I think there's going to be a serious reveal in the next trailer. I don't think Hydro Man's going to be the main enemy. But anyways, apparently, according to Deseret News, what the hell is that? Some plot details have been released. So this is summarizing what happened. So Tom Holland, aka Spider-Man, and Mysterio appeared at Brazil's comic convention last week, where they gave fans an exclusive look at the trailer and discussed the plot line. Okay, so here are the bullet points. So this might have come from the trailer or from the actors themselves and from various sources. According to comicbook.com, the movie will follow Peter Parker as he and his classmates go to Europe for summer vacation, but the relaxation doesn't last too long for Parker. Uproxx reported that Spidey is soon recruited by Nick Fury to fight aliens known as Elementals. What an amazing plot. Fury pairs Parker up with Gyllenhaal's Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, but it is unknown at what point Beck is revealed as the villain. Okay. Next, Nick Fury asks Spidey to come on and help. Mysterio. Nick Fury asks Mysterio, I guess they're referring to. Nick Fury asked Mysterio to come on and help because he's the only one who really understands them, the actor told the comic audience when speaking about his character. And then he teams up with the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and unfortunately has to make him become more than a friendly... What the hell? This is so badly written. Mysterio teams up with the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and unfortunately has to make him become more than a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That doesn't really mean anything. All it does is further solidify the fact that Mysterio is working together in cahoots with Spider-Man in this movie. And finally, though the exact release date of the trailer is still unknown, fans can look forward to seeing Spider-Man Far From Home in theaters July the 5th, 2019. So that is ridiculously soon. In half a year, we're going to be treated to the new Spider-Man movie, and so you can bet your ass there is going to be a trailer soon. What do you think of those new plot details? And in final news for today, Aquaman Metacritic score is in, and Metacritic is kind of bullshit, but because social justice warrior websites for video games, movies, and whatever have started to mark video games and movies down for not containing political elements. No one wants to see that shit in their movies and games. So you can't necessarily trust Metacritic, but still it's a nice indicator of what's going on regarding the quality of future titles. And if you read through the reviews, you can actually discern whether they're political or relatively honest. And look, I said Aquaman looks shit in the trailer and it's definitely going to be shit. And now it's got shit reviews, so it could well be shit. Let's have a look at some of the reviews. So the average score for Aquaman on Metacritic is 53. And you know it's bad because all of the positive reviews are saying things like, well, it's got all these shitty elements in it, but still, it's a good film. paid for reviews or reviews written by someone with some kind of attachment to the public relations of the franchises that they're reviewing. I mean, look, how do these reviews work? A public relations company hired by the creators of the movie invites journalists to screenings, and when the journalists come, they get free beer and free food, and they are schmoozed by the PR company on behalf of the movie production company. And that's why they write these positive reviews that actually have kind of hidden language in betraying the author's real feelings, which is that the movie's shit. Let's have a look. There's bound to be a few of those kinds of reviews on this Metacritic score for Aquaman. So, okay, here we go. The glee that director James Wan clearly has playing in the world of Aquaman is infectious. He's made a movie for both types of 10-year-olds, literal kids, and those who are 10 at heart. Aquaman is one hell of a popcorn movie. Popcorn movie is journalist speak for a shitty movie that they can't say is shit because they have to give a good review because they've got a vested interest in the property. I don't want to see a movie for 10-year-olds, basically. That's not a positive at all. Los Angeles Times, ultimate examples of cucks with pens and keyboards, said, notwithstanding the inevitable formulaic dialogue and superabundance of boilerplate superhero action sequences, so that means it has a shitty script and loads of insipid action scenes. However, Aquaman turns out to be, almost despite itself, an engaging undersea extravaganza. So, in spite of it being shit, it's actually good. What? Okay, New York Magazine, again, cucking themselves to the movie production company, which is... Who the fuck made Aquaman? Who cares? They say, Aquaman's as formulaic, excessively thrashy, and mummy-obsessed as any other entry in the DC extended universe, but its visual imagination is genuinely exciting and transportive and, dare I say, fun. So it looks kind of nice. So Aquaman is doo-doo stains. And then if we go down here, Vox, which is the ultimate liberal propaganda company, doesn't like it, probably because it doesn't have a female lead. And the worst reviews are from Chicago Tribune and Slant magazine. Respectively, they say, watching this movie is like spending 2 hours and 27 minutes staring at a gigantic aquarium full of digital sea creatures and actors on wires pretending to swim. Hang on a minute, that review's in total contrast to the one where they said it looks amazing. So we've just got a whole spectrum of reviews here, haven't we? I guess Metacritic is bollocks. But as I said, you can kind of tap into the motivations of the writers and make your own conclusions. So Metacritic does still have some worth. And finally, Slant magazine. Often divertingly colourful and busy to a fault, the film seems to dare us to mock the world of comics' most risible superhero. So, yeah, Aquaman, according to Metacritic at least, is not very good. So I'm going to whiz through the other news for today. There isn't that much left. This is some random news from Japan. So Cold Stone, that American ice cream company, has released an ice cream flavor in a drink. So these kind of drinks, you see them everywhere in Japan, especially from coffee chains. So Starbucks and all the Japanese Starbucks rivals, which look kind of like Starbucks with slightly different logos and different color schemes, released these drinks. They are cookie cutter, straight off the production line. I've seen so many like that with different color schemes. That's pretty cool. They've taken the taste of an ice cream, put it in a drink. But that further goes to highlight how fucking unhealthy these things. If you can just transport the taste around, it's not necessarily coming from natural ingredients, but from chemicals you can put into any container. That means it's pretty fucking unhealthy. Anyways, you might be interested in these Japanese desserts because they're kind of fascinating. The article on Japan Today says, strawberry shortcake treat from Cold Stone Creamery becomes a convenience store drink. So yeah, there's always new shit coming in Japan, and Cold Stone have really got it right. Some of these Western brands try to invade the Japanese market and fail miserably, but Cold Stone is adapting. They know Japanese people, unlike their unadventurous temperaments in the world of business in general, are very adventurous when it comes to snacks. They always like their snacks changing. And ironically, in England, where I'm from, London, they are much more conservative when it comes to snacks, but progressive in other areas. We've only got a few flavors of Kit Kats, for example, but in Japan, that country's famous for having millions of flavors of Kit Kats. So anyways, yeah, ice cream in a drink, released in Japan. Finally, I just want to whiz through this. So this guy, the president of Nissan in Japan, you might have heard about him. He's getting done for corruption. He's called Goen, I believe. And if you're up on this news, all of my Japanese mates said this is well sketchy. So this guy is basically in detention right now in a Japanese jail on corruption charges. And like they in Japan, they have this insane conviction rate of like 99%. So once you go to jail, you're fucked. And a lot of my Japanese friends said this stinks of corruption. Apparently this guy was going to come out and do some business flex, which the Japanese CEOs and executives didn't like, and so they've suddenly outed him when he was going to ruin their party. Japan is one of the most corrupt countries in the world, and so this case kind of stinks of corruption. If you don't know anything about it, this guy came from France, I believe. I think he had something to do with Renault, and he took over Nissan in Japan that was failing and was spiraling towards bankruptcy. And he saved it, and that was very significant. I think he became a little bit of a celebrity because he's non-Japanese. How can someone who's not pure help us out? Well, Japan, which is famously insular in terms of immigration, actually realized that foreigners do have some worth over here. So he kind of saved them. And you know, all these rich businessmen have got their money hidden away in various forms of laundering. They all fucking do. And it just is a bit fishy that this guy's suddenly been outed in such a corrupt country like Japan, and all the corruption comes from the Japanese infrastructure. So you can bet this is about money behind the scenes, people stabbing each other in the back, and this guy probably hasn't done much more wrong than the average Japanese businessman. So there he is going, he's in the dock. And the interesting thing is here, he's been in detention for a while, and he's trying to get out of detention, but he can't. And so in Japan, they can hold you before you've been and before putting you on trial for 23 days, sometimes without a lawyer, and that's a really fucked up thing in this country. So if you go over to look at the UK laws, they say in 2004 House of Lords ruled that indefinite detention of foreign terrorism suspects violated the Human Rights Act. So even terrorists are kind of maybe getting a better deal than just regular people in Japan. And yeah, I looked a little bit on Reddit as well about Japan's conviction rate, why it's 99%. And this guy on Reddit said kind of a few interesting things. And he said that basically Japan often won't take someone to trial unless they're guaranteed of winning the case. So that means they're actually letting a lot of shit go, which I guess is good for criminals. But at the same time, apparently a lot of bad shit might be going on in these detention centers, not straight up torture, but kind of psychological torture and various things, which backs up the high confession rate. I wonder why they have such a high confession rate. Anyways, I don't want to go too deep into this because actually it's kind of dull, and I don't want to make the Johnny Massacre show too political. But anyways, just so you know what's going on, this boss of Nissan called Goen is in the dock in Japan for some kind of corruption charges. Check it out in the news if you're into that thing. That's enough jibber jabber about the world. Let's talk about my life. Oh shit, sorry, that's kind of tweaking out a little bit. I got a rock and roll, man. I'm supposed to see my girlfriend today, but she's pissed because I'm still umming and ahhing about returning to England for Christmas, because right now I've got a lot of business flex shit going on. So I'm going to tell her, girl, I can't see you today. If you want to go to England, you got to leave me be and let a man get down to business. So I'm going to be on my business bullshit today, and that's about that. But do you know what? I did ask yesterday on YouTube a question. Actually, I asked you to ask me questions for the mailbox. So let's see if anyone was kind enough to do that. I know one of you, I believe your name was Wait Gamer, a regular on the show, who I love. He left me a question on the comments section. So I certainly will get to that. But I do wonder if you have blessed me with any more questions. Let's have a look. Oh, I've got a few. So let's see what we got here. Okay. I've got one by Nordisk Wizard. He says Coke or Pepsi. Fucking love that. Coke or Pepsi? I've got to go with Pepsi. I never really liked Coke. I haven't drunk Coke for about 10 fucking years. I'm allergic to caffeine, which means I can't anymore. And that shit rots your teeth. Look at my teeth. Beautiful and white. Because I don't drink that shit. Fuck that. You know, I eat one meal a day, and so I only need to brush my teeth once a day, even though I brush it twice a day. And so that doesn't factor in. But I've got to go with Pepsi because Coke tastes different depending on the container you drink it in. It tastes really refreshing from those bottles. It tastes kind of gross from those plastic bottles. It tastes really good from McDonald's and shit because I guess they have a different formula. They buy it in bulk and they have to mix the consistency and get the balance right. But I really used to like that. The Coke McDonald's was not bad. But Pepsi, because it was advertised heavily in the 80s, and a lot of my favourite movies from the 80s, it was heavily advertised in Back to the Future, and it wasn't that cringeworthy. It was really part of the movie, and that kind of made me obsessed with brands. Coca-Cola was shown in my favourite movie ever, Blade Runner, and it was on the big billboards and stuff. So I've got a soft spot for Coca-Cola and just kind of iconic things in advertising, logos and design and colours and shit like that. But Pepsi, just because it was in a lot of 80s movie. And there was also an advertisement with Michael J. Fox, who was in Back to the Future, and just about Pepsi. And it was really fucking, it was really, really funny. At the time, it was really amazing. But if you watch it now, it's probably a piece of shit. Why don't you watch it with me? This is going to be quite amusing. This is so fucking old school. Michael J. Fox in school. That's the role he played, was the kind of rebellious teen.
Change.
Very Marty McFly style there. Fucking vending machine in the classroom. What the hell is this? Michael J. Fox looking at a photocopy of a Pepsi can. He's ripped it, and now the picture of the, or photocopy of the Pepsi is becoming real and has condensation all over it and fizzing bubbles exploding forth from its top. This is a very weird advert. Okay, I think I've seen enough of this. This is a relic of past times. But there was one where he was running around. This one. This is the one I like. This really sums up the 80s. Michael Jackson, Michael J. Fox, all those cunts. Vibes. See, hot birds in the 80s had these mad, like, frizzy haircuts.
Next door, and I was wondering, could I borrow a Diet Pepsi?
Hashtag me too.
Sure. Come in.
See, this is when women sexually harass men all the time. See, he's just playing his Marty McFly character constantly in the 80s.
How about something else?
No, that's okay. Listen, if you don't have a Diet Pepsi...
No, I got it.
This is classic, though. This advertising structure still exists today. If you buy this, you're going to get pussy. That is the strongest motivator for any man. Why do you think men do anything or want to earn a lot of money? It's so they can get as much pussy as possible. Look, Michael J. Fox. See, the 80s is full of manholes billowing with steam and dangerous, rabid dogs, biker gangs, crime, punks. It's like the Streets of Rage or Final Fight video games coming to life. So look, a bunch of biker thugs around the Pepsi machine who actually look like they've just been to the YMCA. So wow, you know, Michael J. Fox being the white knight, giving the bird what she wants, and is he going to get laid?
Here's your Diet Pepsi.
That must be my roommate, Danny.
Danny?
What?
Hi, I'm Danielle.
Holy shit.
Another Diet Pepsi?
That's a great advert!
Sure.
He's going to get a threesome.
Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Just met. That's brilliant because nothing's changed today. Men will do anything for pussy, and so that is clearly done by a good advertising agency. They're tapping into motivations of men that just never go away. I guess it really wasn't marketed for women, but I guess it is because it's saying if you're hot, you want a Pepsi. Beautiful women, or all women who aspire to be beautiful, which is pretty much every woman, apart from the social justice fatty feminists who've given up on it and are trying to normalize being ugly, should want a Pepsi, as should all men, judging by that advert. I love that. Okay, so my other question from today is from Weight Gamer, and he says, It is always interesting to hear about your exercise sessions and the food that you eat. As such, how tall are you? I'm 187 centimeters, 0.5. I'm about 6'2.5". How much do you weigh? I weigh 85 kilograms at the moment. I can go up to about 86 and a bit if I'm just eating tons of food. And when I'm cutting for the summer, I go down to 79, which is fucking insane. And I think I'm going to go down to 77 this year. What's your body mass index? It's a rather personal question. I don't actually know. I have no idea. How the fuck do I find that out? When you go on one of your legendary 2-hour runs, how many miles do you travel? Now, that's a good question. So, unfortunately, my 2-hour runs are not so legendary anymore. When I was training for the marathon, I used to do a 2-hour run on a Monday and a 2-hour run on a Friday. And that means I was raping myself. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I do an hour run. And each of those was at my serious pace. I don't have different paces. I have one pace. I run at the same heart rate every time. And that means if you run at the same heart rate 3 times a week for an hour, if you look at the distance you cover, after a few weeks, you start going further and further to the point where for the same heart rate, your body's becoming much more efficient. However, there's this horrible glass ceiling. When you do that enough, you get so fucking fast, your body starts breaking down. It's like a car just being maxed out the whole time. And so that was unsustainable. But I did run 2 hours on a Monday and a Friday. There were a few times, I remember before Halloween a couple of years ago when I was trying to squeeze in my runs because I didn't have much time in the week. I would run 2-hour runs back to back on consecutive days. No wonder I got so badly injured. And I think the furthest I've ever run at my heart rate for 2 hours was about 17 miles. So that's nearly 3-hour marathon pace. And I could have definitely done that faster if I hadn't just run at the same heart rate. If I would have increased my speed towards the end, I could have done 18 miles probably. So yeah, I used to fucking go crazy on my legendary 2-hour runs. And I used to always run around at night. And halfway through my run, after running one way for an hour, I'd be in the middle of nowhere in a highway in Tokyo near some big lake, some big river. And I remember running over this huge bridge, and that bridge was always my halfway point. And I remember listening to Pumped Up Kicks, that awesome song. I can't remember the name of the band, but I mix that in my songs quite a lot with actually techno songs. It's not designed to work with techno, but being a genius on the wheels of steel, I do kind of discover these cool mixes. And I used to listen to that song, Pumped Up Kicks, and I would just scream, a primal scream from the werewolf under the full moon. Fuck yeah, come on, whoa, whoa. I used to get such a rush from doing that. And I'm trying to get back there, but my injuries are kind of shitty, but we'll see. I'm kind of overdoing it a lot recently. But anyways, thanks for the question, Weight Gamer. I appreciate it. Rambling as usual. Hope you enjoyed today's Johnny Massacre show. If you do, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, because that's what all those other cunts tell you to do. And yeah, I'll be back with more Johnny Massacre goodness tomorrow. Have a good one, people.